From beggar to millionaire, the black man who inspired Elon Musk and met Donald Trump. Jonathan White's name is everywhere. Headlines scream it out. The billionaire who climbed from the dirt, who shook hands with Donald Trump, who Elon Musk once called a true game changer. But no one knows the cracks behind that polished smile. Tonight, in his penthouse high above the city's blinding lights, Jonathan feels nothing but a cold, heavy silence crushing his chest. The sprawling skyline looks like a cruel joke, a maze of shining towers, reflecting dreams shattered beyond repair. They all think he's untouchable, rich, untouchable. But inside, Jonathan's world is drowning in unbearable grief. His 5-year-old son, gone, vanished under a cloud of mystery nobody can explain. The media is hunting, screaming for answers, spinning lies, digging into every corner of his life. Flashbulbs outside his window shatter the night, echoing the chaos inside. The smell of crayon and cocoa, tiny shoes by the doorway, gone. And Jonathan feels the guilt, sharp and burning, slicing deeper than any headline. What had he missed? Was there something he should have seen? Something he'd ignored? The questions roar, louder than the city beneath him. A tight lump rises in his throat. The silence presses down until it feels like he can't breathe. He stares out again, the city's pulse mirroring his fractured mind. Neon signs blink like broken promises. Somewhere down there, life moves on, cold, indifferent. And then, just as he's sliding toward the edge of despair, the shrill ring of his phone slices the quiet. A dark, urgent voice crackles on the other end. A detective with news. Not the news he expected. Startling, sinister details that twist the knife even deeper, hinting at shadows darker than mere accident or fate. Jonathan's heart skips, then pounds. Betrayal? Lies? There's more inside his family than he ever dared to imagine. Secrets buried so deep, they threaten to tear everything apart, to shake the very ground his empire rests on. He hangs up, breath ragged, eyes burning through the night. The boy he thought he knew, the son he loved, is tangled in a web far bigger than he imagined. And now, Jonathan's own life hangs in the balance, dragged into a conspiracy creeping closer with every breath. The media storm grows, whispers spreading like wildfire. Who is Jonathan White's son really? And who's behind this nightmare closing in? Jonathan feels the trap tighten. Every revelation slices deeper. Every step forward drags him into darkness. Twice today, he almost breaks, his mind screaming to stop, but his heart pulling him on. The legacy of his boy, the future of his fortune, both slipping through his fingers like smoke. In the cold glow of the penthouse, the question cuts sharper than ever. What secrets could a 5-year-old hold that would rock an empire? And more chilling, who wants those secrets buried forever? The night hums with dangerous promise. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming. And since you're here, drop a powerful like. That really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and let me know in the comments, what city are you watching from? Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. The night hums with dangerous promise. Jonathan steadies himself, heart racing. Thoughts spiral, each one darker than the last. Was there truly a conspiracy lurking beneath the surface? Who were these shadows? And then the phone buzzes again, an urgency crackling through the line. It's the same detective. "I need you to come down to the station," he says, voice thick. "It's urgent." Jonathan's stomach flips. He rushes down. The elevator descending like a tomb, each beep echoing his dread. He steps into the station. The cold air wraps around him, and he's met by the detective. The man looks worn, hands shoved deep into his pockets. "Jonathan," he breathes, pulling him into a side room, away from the noise. "We found something." The grim look on his face sends a chill down Jonathan's spine. "What did you find? Is it about my son?" His voice cracks. "Look." The detective slides a file across the table. Pictures scatter out. Images of a boy, a toy, and Jonathan feels the world tilt. It's a picture of his son, but there's more. Another child identical to his, smiling. A graffiti-covered wall in the background. A street Jonathan knows all too well. He bites his lip, a rush of disbelief crashing over him. What is this? He levels a gaze at the detective. "Who is this child?" The detective swallows hard. "We think your son wasn't just taken. He might have been living a double life." The words hit like blows. "We've uncovered a network of families. Children being hidden, switched for reasons we're still trying to understand." Jonathan's mind whirls. His heart seems to pulse louder with each revelation. "Switched?" "Yes," the detective says, urgency growing. "This other boy. They look identical. Might be twins. What if your son is part of something we weren't prepared for?" The air in the room thickens. Jonathan feels ice in his veins, the reality gnawing at his sanity. It can't be true. He can barely breathe, his mind racing. All the love, every moment shared, now turned to a mirage. "Listen," the detective says, his voice low. "We suspect these children. They may have—" He hesitates, choosing his words carefully. "They might hold deeper connections to sinister operations. You could be in danger too." Suddenly, the station erupts into chaos. Shouting, footsteps pounding. An officer bursts through the door. "Detective, you need to see this!" Fear grips Jonathan as he steps back, watching the detective rush away. He's left alone, exposed. The world outside slips into murky shadows. The very city he thought of as home, now a maze of threats. Heart pounding, Jonathan stares at the photographs, his breath hitching. His memories claw at him, blending with a horror he can't shake. What if he was never the father he thought he was? What if everything was a lie? Shouts echo from down the hall, jaws tightening. Jonathan's mind races as reality shifts, fractures in his perception growing sharper. He glances back to the door, instincts screaming. He's never felt so helpless or so in danger. And just as he's about to bolt, the lights flicker, plunging the room into darkness. A scream pierces the night, cold and chilling. In that moment, Jonathan knows. Everything he believed has been turned upside down, and the truth he's been seeking may just lead him further into deception's pit. The question looms like a storm overhead. What's real and what's a manufactured nightmare? And in the stifling silence, a deeper dread slithers closer, hanging in the air. The game has just begun. The night hums with dangerous promise. Jonathan's mind races, a wild storm of thoughts echoing in the silence. Another call? Another hint of betrayal? Who? Why now? Panic grips him like a vice as he reaches for the nearest object, a heavy bookend, his fingers trembling around it. But before he can move, the figure steps into the moonlight, streaming through the broken glass. It's a young man, maybe in his 20s, wide-eyed and wild. "Jonathan White," he gasps, panic lacing his voice. Before Jonathan can respond, the man rushes forward, clutching something tightly, a small, crumpled piece of paper. "Your son, he's in danger. You need to listen." The urgency in his voice reaches Jonathan, breaking through the fog of fear. "I know who took him." Jonathan's heart stops. He stares at the stranger, trying to understand. "What? Who are you?" he manages, fear creeping back in. "Kelly, I worked with him." "Your son was..." He was asking questions. Questions he shouldn't have. "They've been watching." Kelly's eyes dart around, wide and frantic. "I barely made it out. You have to trust me." Behind the urgency, Jonathan feels a prickle of recognition. Kelly? The name sounds familiar, tinged with a haze of memories from days long gone. "What do you mean?" "What questions?" The young man clutches the paper, his hands shaking. "Secrets about your business, the people you work with. They don't want this to come to light. Your son." A roar of adrenaline surges through Jonathan. "What about my son?" He takes a step forward. "I overheard them. They know he's linked to you. They're planning something horrible." His voice trembles, words spilling out in frantic bursts. "They're using him against you, Jonathan, and they will stop at nothing to keep their secrets." Jonathan's mind races faster than his heart. He struggles to grasp the weight of Kelly's words. "What do they want? Why him?" "No time! We need to go! Now!" Kelly pleads, glancing back at the shattered window. "They're coming for you too! Or they'll find someone else." A cold dread settles into Jonathan's bones as realization slams into him. This isn't just about his son anymore, his wealth, his empire. It's about survival. The lies, the polished front, the ambitious climbing. The world he built hides shadows he never saw. "Wait!" Jonathan stammers. "How do I know you're telling the truth?" "Because your son, he knew I was finding out." "He wanted help, Jonathan," Kelly pleads, his voice rising with desperation. "He thought you were safe. He wanted to protect you. I didn't understand until it was too late." The enormity of it all crushes Jonathan. The boy he loved, innocent and bright, dancing with shadows he should never have known. His stomach twists in grief and anger. "I need to see him!" "Let's move! We don't have time!" Kelly urges. The urgency electrifies the air between them. Those words echo in Jonathan's mind, spiraling into chaos. He glances back at the skyline, the empire he built looming heavy above him, before meeting Kelly's terrified gaze again. The night darkens, and the silence grows dense with the weight of his choices. And somewhere in the black, the question looms larger than any city. What truly lay behind his son's innocent eyes? What terrible truths was he caught in? And who would pay the price when they were uncovered? Jonathan steps forward, heart pounding. The clock is ticking, and the shadows are moving in fast. They're running out of time. Jonathan steps forward, heart pounding. The clock is ticking, and the shadows are moving in fast. We need a plan, he breathes, adrenaline coursing through him. Kelly nods, fear etched on his face. But as Jonathan turns to escape the chaos, the room's door slams open. Two figures, dark and imposing, fill the doorway. Their badges glint in the cold office light. "Detective," one shouts, grabbing Kelly and yanking him back. "No!" Jonathan lunges, but it's too late. They haul Kelly away, leaving Jonathan frozen. Panic surging through him like a wild river. "Stop!" he screams, desperate. "What are you doing? He's trying to help!" "Stand down," the taller officer barks, eyes hard and cold. Jonathan glances over, horror crashing into him like a breaking wave. Something in those eyes feels wrong, sinister. Just then, another man steps into the light behind them. A face Jonathan knows too well. Jonathan! It's his business partner, Marcus. The words trip with feigned concern. You're in deeper than you realize. "Marcus, what the hell?" Jonathan's voice wavers. Confusion twists in his gut. Marcus's friendly demeanor, once a beacon of trust, now feels like a snake ready to strike. He was the one with the info, wasn't he? Marcus continues, a sly grin spreading across his face. "But don't worry, we've got everything under control." In that instant, Jonathan's world tilts. His breath catches. Control? Did Marcus betray him? "Why are you with them?" he demands, fury igniting his veins. Marcus, the man he had fought alongside, was he the villain now? "I tried to protect you, Jonathan," Marcus replies, but there's a smugness in his voice, a spark of satisfaction that makes Jonathan sick. "But you've drawn too much attention. Your empire, it's built on lies. They'll come for you, one way or another." "Why would you do this? Why now?" Jonathan struggles to grasp it all, his heart racing. "Because it's time for a change," Marcus says, his smile widening, "and you're standing in the way." Jonathan's world spins. The betrayal slices deeper than any knife. Kelly, the boy he loved, the empire he built, it all collapses under the weight of this revelation. Marcus steps closer, eyes glinting with malice. "Your son," he sneers, "is just collateral damage in this game." A cold shudder runs through Jonathan. The love he felt, now tainted. The memories twist into shadows, and a lump forms in his throat. This wasn't just about his child anymore. This was war. "Get away from him!" Jonathan growls, fists clenched. But Marcus isn't scared. He leans in, conspiratorial. "Good luck finding your son, Jonathan," he whispers, his breath hot with disdain. "The clock is ticking. You've made enemies you can't even see." In a flash, fear morphs into rage. Jonathan shakes, adrenaline surging. The world outside, where light still shone, seemed light years away. And as Marcus turns, cold laughter echoes off the walls, each taunt a dagger in Jonathan's heart. With every second that passed, the knowledge dawned. Every crumb of safety hidden behind charisma and charm had turned into a nightmare. "What did I miss?" Jonathan whispers, more to himself than anyone else. But the answer lurks in the shadows, just out of reach. The path ahead is treacherous, and Jonathan knows, for the first time, he's not the hunter. He's the prey. As the door slams shut, Jonathan takes a step back, breathless, reality crashing down around him. But in the depths of betrayal, a spark of determination ignites. They might have taken Kelly, but they've underestimated him. The night is still thick with danger. Jonathan's heart races, fueled by fear and anger. The chase is on. A question hangs in the air. How far is he willing to go to save his son and himself? The night hums with dangerous promise. Jonathan's heart races. The detective's words echo a rough whisper in his mind. Could there be more to his son's disappearance? Was he still alive? Each thought strikes like a punch. He was afraid of the truth lurking in shadows. The truth of his boy's laughter, now dripping with dread. His phone vibrates again, breaking through the storm inside him. It's a message, notification, popping up on the screen. A live feed from the news. He clicks it open, eyes wide, pulse pounding in his ears. The headline screams, "Mysterious stranger seen near Jonathan White's home days before disappearance." A shadowy figure in a black hoodie caught on security cameras. The footage is grainy, but Jonathan's stomach drops. Anxiety grips him tight. Was this the man responsible? His mind races. He jumps when a knock thunders against the door. It's too loud in this fragile moment, echoing through his hollow chest. Jonathan's throat tightens. For a fleeting second, he wonders if it's another detective, bearing worse news. He takes a breath, steadies himself, then walks to the door. He swings it open to face a woman he's never seen before. Dark hair falls around her shoulders, eyes wide and glistening with urgency. She stares at him with a wild mix of fear and determination. "Jonathan White?" she breathes, like the words are a lifeline. His heart skips, then rushes. "Yes, who are you?" I know what happened to your son." The words spill out, each syllable trembling with gravity. Jonathan's heart thuds. "What do you mean? How do you know?" She glances down the hall, anxiety shadowing her face. "Not here. It's not safe. You need to come with me." He hesitates, stuck between disbelief and desperation. "What could you possibly know?" Her eyes harden. "Everything. Your son's life is tangled in something much bigger. I can help you, but we have to move now." A pulse of urgency courses through him. This woman holds answers, yet uncertainty coils around his insides. "Where are we going?" "Somewhere the media can't find you." And just like that, she turns, leading him down the narrow hall, past the thrumming chaos he'd locked himself away from. Each step feels heavy, like walking through molasses. The city glimmers outside, oblivious, yet Jonathan's world feels like it's unraveling. They reach a sleek black car, and she slides into the driver's seat. He follows, heart pounding. Just as the engine roars to life, the car jolts. A loud crash explodes near them. Metal shrieks. Glass shatters. Jonathan's stomach drops. A truck barreling toward them, brakes screeching, tires burning against the pavement. "Get down!" she yells, and he flings himself low just in time. The vehicle rocks as the truck smashes into the side, crumpling the metal. Adrenaline surges through him again, the air thick with the scent of smoke and gasoline. Heart racing, Jonathan's thoughts spiral. Was this an accident? A deliberate attack? Who would want him dead? And why now? Instincts kick in. Fear and determination collide. He can't lose this chance to find his son, but with each moment, shadows lengthen. The darkness is closing in. Then, another surprise. Amidst the chaos, he glimpses something behind the driver's seat. A small backpack, dusty and soft. His son's. The world narrows down to that object, his breath catching. There it is, a piece of his boy. So close, yet so far. As sirens wail in the distance, he reaches for it. Raw emotions crashing over him. There, within that fabric, a thread of hope tangled with despair. But then, a second voice cuts through the panicked haze, chilling his blood. "Keep your hands off that. You don't understand what's at stake." Jonathan freezes, the world spinning. The woman turns to him. A flicker of something sinister catches in her eyes. Could it be she holds secrets darker than he ever imagined? And just like that, every certainty flips. Who is she really? What is she hiding? The very ground beneath Jonathan's feet trembles, and the night thickens with dread. Jonathan's heart thudded in his chest as he stared into the dark city below, the weight of the detective's words still buzzing in his mind. Was it betrayal? Was it lies? His world felt like it was crumbling. Another piece of his life shattering like glass. A jagged reminder that no one, not even him, was immune to darkness. The glow of his phone turned the night blue, cutting through the shadows. But now it only felt like a warning. Just as he thought he couldn't feel more isolated, the door to his penthouse swung open. It was Anna, his wife, eyes wide with a wild, frantic energy. "Jonathan, you need to see this." Her voice was a mixture of urgency and desperation. He rose abruptly, the photograph slipping from his hands and fluttering to the floor. "What is it?" He felt his heart racing, panic creeping in. "News! They're saying there's a development about our son," she stammered, breathless. "What do you mean?" His voice was tight, fingers curling into fists. "Just come!" She grabbed his arm and pulled him toward the living room, where the television flickered ominously. The news anchor's voice was calm, too calm, as he detailed a bizarre story. A boy found in a park, a child missing, a child with strikingly similar features to Jonathan's son. Images flashed on the screen, disturbing and haunting. A small figure wrapped in a tattered blanket, shivering, the familiar dark curls. Jonathan's breath stalled. His whole chest felt like it was shriveling under the weight of confusion and dread. "Is that?" he began, but he couldn't finish the sentence. "Yes, they say he might be alive." Anna's eyes sparkled for a moment, a flicker of hope amid the fear. But then her expression darkened. "But there's something else, something deeper." The news broke into a segment about a conspiracy. Whispers of a ring trafficking children for unspeakable reasons. Clip after "They're tying our family into this," Anna said, shaking her head. They're saying you. You might be involved. Jonathan felt the blood drain from his face. Involved? How? I've done nothing but try to be a good father. His voice cracked, echoing in the silence surrounding them. The thought of his son entangled in darkness, in something evil, felt like a physical blow. But just then, his phone rang again. The number was private. Shaking, he answered. "Hello? Mr. White." The gravelly voice came through, a stranger but unmistakably important. "The truth about your son is not what you think. Meet me tonight at the old warehouse by the pier. Come alone, or you may lose everything, including your son." He froze. Then the line went dead, leaving Jonathan standing in the cold reality that everything, the fortune, the fame, the so-called life he built, was teetering on the edge of a knife. The shadows in his mind loomed larger. All he could hear now was the chaos of the world he thought he knew, ripping apart. Who was that? Anna's voice trembled as she stepped closer, eyes darting between Jonathan and the flashing screen. I don't know," he admitted, feeling the heat of darkness close in. In that moment, the space between them felt enormous. Trust, like glass, began to crack. "What do you mean you don't know?" Her voice rose, fear changing to anger. "Anna, I need you to trust me," he said, his voice low but urgent, the weight of the world pressing down. "Trust you? After this? How can I?" The walls of their life, of their love, felt dangerously thin. Jonathan felt the ground slipping as he prepared to face whatever lay hidden in the shadows. The night hummed with dark energy. The fateful meeting loomed ahead, and he had no idea what truths awaited him, what secrets would be pried loose in the unforgiving light. No turning back now. The night hums with dangerous promise. A deep silence blankets the penthouse. But within Jonathan, chaos erupts. His heart races, pulse hammering against his chest. Shadows dance along the walls, mocking him, reminding him of what was lost and what could still be buried. He grips the railing, knuckles white, and leans heavy against it. The phone buzzes again. A flurry of notifications lights up the screen. A tsunami of alerts flooding his mind. Social media, news updates, breaking, mysterious circumstances surrounding Jonathan White's son. The words stab him. He drops the phone, letting it skitter across the sleek floor. All he wants is to understand, but understanding feels so far away. Then the doorbell cuts through his sorrow like a knife, sharp and firm. He freezes. Who could it be? Friends? Reporters? Or worse, someone coming to pry into his grief? He stares at the door, breathing shallowly, a war raging inside him. After a heartbeat, he shuffles to the door, feet heavy, mind racing. The moment he opens it, the bright hallway light floods over him. Two figures stand there, familiar yet unwelcoming. The detective from earlier. But this time, he's not alone. A woman in a sleek black suit stands beside him, eyes cold as steel. She carries an aura of authority, and when she speaks, her voice strikes like lightning. "Mr. White, we need to talk," she says, and her eyes flicker to the side, almost like she's searching for something, like she's afraid of what might be hidden behind the door. "Talk? About what?" Jonathan's voice catches, tinged with disbelief. He isn't ready for this. Not now. Not when the world feels like it's collapsing around him. About your son and the unexpected revelations we've uncovered. The detective shifts, a sheen of sweat on his forehead. We need to discuss your family. Panic rises like bile in Jonathan's throat. My family? What could you possibly know? But before the detective can respond, a woman steps forward, cutting him off. You might want to sit down, Mr. White. This is going to change everything. The words hang in the air like a weight. Change. Everything. Jonathan's world is already in shambles. What could possibly shift it further? Your son. She hesitates, then takes a breath, her voice lowering. ... He's involved in something much bigger than you realize. Something that runs far deeper than you could have imagined. Suddenly, his mind flashes back. Clues he overlooked. Strange conversations with friends that never seemed quite right. Fear claws at his insides. What are you saying? A rush of memories surges. Gifts he gave, favors he did, friendships formed and broken. Jonathan feels the air thicken. The woman steps closer, lowers her voice as if the walls could hear. It's not just the loss you're grieving, it's a betrayal. Your son had secrets, deadly ones. Secrets? Betrayal? The room spins. You don't understand. He was just a child. The detective shifts uncomfortably, as though regretting his involvement. The woman's expression hardens. That may be true, but it doesn't change the reality. We need to protect you and uncover what your son was really up to. And then, just as the weight of her words sinks in, a distant sound pierces the night. An explosion, followed by the shattering glass. The lights flicker violently. Panic. But can it be connected? The woman's eyes reflect panic now, but also a determination to find the truth. Jonathan stares, his heart pounding, mind racing with questions. Is this related to his son? Was there a price to pay, one he never saw coming? The night outside roars with urgency, but the real storm is brewing within those walls. What lies ahead could unravel everything he thought he knew. Jonathan's world is spinning out of control, and he's standing at the edge, ready to plunge into darkness. The night hums with dangerous promise. A deep silence blankets the penthouse, but within Jonathan, chaos erupts. His heart races, pulse hammering against his chest. Shadows dance along the walls, mocking him, reminding him of what was lost and what could still be buried. He grips the railing, knuckles white, and leans heavy against it. The phone buzzes again. A flurry of notifications lights up the screen, a tsunami of alerts flooding his mind. Social media, news updates. Breaking, mysterious circumstances surrounding Jonathan White's son. The words stab him. He drops the phone, letting it skitter across the sleek floor. All he wants is to understand, but understanding feels so far away. Then the doorbell cuts through his sorrow like a knife, sharp and firm. He freezes. Who could it be? Friends? Reporters? Or worse, someone coming to pry into his grief? He stares at the door, breathing shallowly, a war raging inside him. After a heartbeat He shuffles to the door, feet heavy, mind racing. The moment he opens it, the bright hallway light floods over him. Two figures stand there, familiar, yet unwelcoming. The detective from earlier, but this time he's not alone. A woman in a sleek black suit stands beside him, eyes cold as steel. She carries an aura of authority, and when she speaks, her voice strikes like lightning. "Mr. White, we need to talk," she says, and her eyes flicker to the side, almost like she's searching for something, like she's afraid of what might be hidden behind the door. Talk? About what? Jonathan's voice catches, tinged with disbelief. He isn't ready for this. Not now. Not when the world feels like it's collapsing around him. About your son and the unexpected revelations we've uncovered. The detective shifts, a sheen of sweat on his forehead. We need to discuss your family. Panic rises like bile in Jonathan's throat. My family? What could you possibly know? But before the detective can respond, the woman steps forward, cutting him off. You might want to sit down, Mr. White. This is going to change everything. The words hang in the air like a weight. Change everything. Jonathan's world is already in shambles. What could possibly shift it further? Bumpa. Your son. She hesitates, then takes a breath, her voice lowering. He's involved in something much bigger than you realize. Something that runs far deeper than you could have imagined. Suddenly, his mind flashes back. Clues he overlooked, strange conversations with friends that never seemed quite right. Fear claws at his insides. What are you saying? A rush of memories surges. Gifts he gave, favors he did, friendships formed and broken. Jonathan feels the air thicken. The woman steps closer, lowers her voice as if the walls could hear. It's not just the loss you're grieving, it's a betrayal. Your son had secrets, deadly ones. Secrets. Betrayal. The room spins. You don't understand, he was just a child. The detective shifts uncomfortably, as though regretting his involvement. The woman's expression hardens. That may be true, but it doesn't change the reality. We need to protect you and uncover what your son was really up to. And then, just as the weight of her words sinks in, a distant sound pierces the night, an explosion followed by the shattering glass. The lights flicker violently. Panic lurches in Jonathan's chest. He turns just in time to see flames erupt below, consuming the skyline he thought he owned. It's chaos! His empire is burning. But can it be connected? The woman's eyes reflect panic now, but also a determination to find the truth. Jonathan stares, his heart pounding, mind racing with questions. Is this related to his son? Was there a price to pay? One he never saw coming? Out of the chaos, Jonathan sees something strange. A shadow darts across the room. His instincts kick in. He steps back. The tension rises. The air crackles. And then, from the corner, another figure appears. A child. A small boy silhouetted against the smoke, directly behind his wife. Mommy, I'm scared. Jonathan's breath catches. His son, the one he thought he'd lost, stands there. Relief clashes with terror. Everything shifts. But then, from behind him, Marcus steps into the light. "It's too late, Jonathan! You're too late!" The woman stares in horror at the boy. "No, it can't be! He's not supposed to be here!" "Who?" Jonathan's voice trembles. "Who is he?" Then it hits like a lightning bolt. The boy isn't just Jonathan's son. He's someone else's child. Someone connected to the secrets buried deep in Jonathan's empire. The myth of his family unravels. The walls feel like they're closing in. "What have you done?" he breathes, heart racing. "It's always been about this child," Marcus says, his grin widening. "Your family, your empire is nothing without him." The ground beneath Jonathan sways. Everything he believed flipping upside down. The room explodes with confusion, the night thick with secrets, lies, and danger. "No," he shakes his head, fighting against the truth unraveling before him. As explosions echo outside and shadows loom closer, the question rings louder in Jonathan's mind. What have they all become? The night has changed, morphing into a nightmare that threatens to swallow them whole. The room feels like it's closing in. Jonathan stares at Marcus, anger boiling inside him. "What have you done?" he whispers, disbelief wrapping around each word. The boy behind Anna looks so small, so scared. But then, before anyone can respond, a thunderous crash sounds from the window. Glass explodes inward, showering them with shards. A masked figure tumbles through, landing awkwardly on the floor. Before Jonathan can even react, the figure springs to their feet. Voice harsh and commanding, "Get back!" Panic erupts. Anna shields their son, her body instinctively moving to protect the boy. Jonathan steps forward, fists clenched, ready to fight back. "Who are you?" Seraph. He demands, a mix of fear and fury fueling him. "Look out!" the masked intruder yells. Jonathan's instincts scream to take cover. A loud bang follows, like a gunshot, slicing through the air. Jonathan's heart thunders as he glimpses movement in the haze of chaos. The masked figure isn't alone. Shadows creep in behind them, and Jonathan's throat goes dry. "Why are you doing this?" he shouts, pushing Anna and the boy back toward the kitchen. Time slows, heart pounding harder with each second. The room spins, chaos reigning as emotions clash. "I don't want to hurt you," the intruder rasps, voice echoing through the panic. "I'm here to deliver a message. Your son, he's more than you think." A hand shoots out, revealing a small device flickering with light. Jonathan squints, trying to see through the blur of adrenaline. "What do you mean?" "Just listen." The mask tilts slightly, just enough for Jonathan to glimpse a pair of familiar eyes. Shock crashes over him like a wave. "It's me, Emily. I'm here to save you." "Emily?" It feels foreign, like a name from another life. She was his friend years ago, long before everything became twisted, before money and power turned him into a man he barely recognized. "You shouldn't be here." "I had to come. They know what your family is hiding," she urges, urgency spilling from her voice. "We're running out of time. They'll kill your son if you don't cooperate." The words slice cleanly through Jonathan's heart. They all turn to look at the boy, frozen in fear. "Why should I trust you?" Jonathan's eyes narrow, heart pounding. Trusting again feels impossible. "Listen," she yells, eyes darting to the shadows growing closer. "If you don't believe me," the air shifts. Salvation or more chaos? Confusion wraps the room tighter. "Freeze! FBI! Nobody move!" one officer yells, confusion washing over his features as he processes the scene. Masked intruder, terrified child, Jonathan with rage and fear written all over his face. "Wait!" Emily points desperately, voice cracking. "I'm trying to help. He's innocent." In that moment, everything twists. The masked intruder lunges toward Jonathan, but the officers move in, tackling both Emily and the figure to the floor. A cacophony of shouts fills the space, drowning out Jonathan's thoughts. Suddenly, another body appears in the doorway. Marcus, eyes wide, face twisted with forced calm. "You've made a mistake," he smirks, watching as the chaos unfolds. "Marcus, what is happening?" Jonathan demands, confusion turning to fury. "Haven't you realized yet? Everyone here is expendable. But there's one thing you need to know." As Marcus speaks, he pulls a hidden handle, revealing a gleaming chrome weapon tucked at his side. "Your son is collateral damage in this game, but I will have him, and you'll never stop me." Everything unravels. Jonathan's chest tightens, his world spiraling into darkness. The panic, the betrayal, the anger coalesce into a single explosive moment. "Get down!" The officers shout, raising their weapons. In the chaos, Jonathan can only think about one thing: save his son. But as shadows loom closer and alliances crumble, he realizes he's already lost. What lies ahead may be darker than he ever imagined. In that split second, time stretched. The fear thickened in the air, mingling with the smoke and chaos. The masked figure lunged towards Jonathan, but the officers moved swiftly. "Drop the weapon!" they shouted. Bodies collided in a flurry of limbs, and Jonathan's heart crashed against his ribcage as he watched Emily wrestling against the gripping hands of the agents. "Jonathan!" she yelled, desperation climbing in her voice. "Get your son out of here!" The urgency in her eyes sent a jolt through him. He darted toward Anna and the boy, who were still frozen, fear locking them in place. "This way, now!" he shouted, his voice cutting through the clamor. But just as he reached them, Marcus stepped forward. "You won't get far, Jonathan." His voice dripped with malice. "This is the end of everything." Suddenly, the room erupted. The masked figure broke free, causing a wave of chaos. "Help me!" he cried as he lunged for Anna. But officers were quick. They surged forward, grabbing him. But in the confusion, Jonathan felt his world shifting. "Move!" he urged again, gripping the boy's hand tightly. "We have to go!" The officers were yelling, trying to gain control. Shots rang out, and Jonathan ducked instinctively. Panic filled the space as he pulled his family toward the fire escape. The chaos behind them fueling his resolve. "Who are you?" the boy asked, confusion filling his innocent eyes. "Your father," Jonathan snapped, heart racing. "And I promise, I'm going to protect you." His voice shook with the promise of safety. "Trust me." As they burst through the fire exit and into the night, the cool air hit them like a shock. They stumbled out onto the roof, the skyline blazing in the distance, the city sprawling out like a living beast beneath them. Jonathan glanced back at the chaos, breathless with adrenaline. "We have to find a way down." "Where's Emily?" Anna asked, anxiety gripping her. Jonathan opened his mouth to respond, but his eyes locked onto a shadow flitting across the adjacent rooftop. It doesn't matter now. We need to get to safety. Just then, the night echoed with sirens screeching toward them. Adrenaline surged, desperation clawing at his throat. He led them to the edge of the building. We can jump to the next roof. It's just a small gap. Anna's eyes were wide, doubt swirling. What if we fall? Trust me. We? Very well. Fierce. Caution. But there's no doubt. We must get through caution without panicking. Right? Doubt swirling. What if we fall? Trust me. Doubt swirling, he shouted, turning to face his son. Hold my hand tight. We're going. He took a breath, adrenaline coursing through his veins as he stepped forward. With one strong leap, they crossed that gap, landing safely on the other side. Keep going, Jonathan urged. They raced across the rooftops, breathless and wild. Behind them, the echoes of chaos grew fainter, but still hung heavy in the air. Night enveloped them, the shadows following close. But with every step, Jonathan felt a flicker of hope. They reached an opening with a fire escape that led down. Here, we can get out! We're almost there! As they descended, he heard shouting in the distance. Cops and angry voices, growing louder by the second. The urgency pushed them forward, and the world blurs as they sprint toward freedom. Finally, they reached the street level, where darkness offered a fleeting sense of solitude. Still holding on to his son, Jonathan turned to Anna. We can't stop. If they find us, everything's at stake. But he sensed a weight. Anna looked conflicted, glancing back at the chaos that chased them. What about Emily? We can't worry about that now, Jonathan insisted, heart pounding. We need to focus on what's right in front of us. We'll find a way to protect our family. As the sirens faded, a new resolve surged in Jonathan. Let's stick together, trust each other. That's all we have. With the night wrapping around them, they melted into the shadows, leaving chaos behind. But the haunting question lingered, echoing in Jonathan's heart. Would they really find safety in this unfolding nightmare? You have to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the upcoming exclusive stories. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm.